Thank you very much for the privilege of being here today. Your Eminence, Reverend Fathers, Haig Kassarian, and members of the Armenian National Committee, my federal colleagues, Trent Zimmerman, John Alexander, my many state colleagues who are here today, my friend, the Honorable Walt Secord, and Dr. Brian Aller, Labor's candidate for Bennelong. And most importantly, I would like to spend a moment acknowledging Gladys Berejiklian. Gladys and I recently shared a very special celebration for my family when my son graduated from the New South Wales Police Force. And it was a beautiful moment, nonpartisan, and an opportunity for Gladys to share in something that was very special for my husband and I and our children. Tonight, Gladys, I had the opportunity to meet your parents. It was a beautiful moment, and I was touched to do so. And I'm very honored to be here today, Premier, with you and your family, with the wider Armenian Australian community. Gladys and I will always share the fact that to date, we're the only two women that can lay title to the claim of Premier of New South Wales. But I particularly tonight want to reflect how special I think it is that the people of New South Wales elected Gladys Berejiklian as their Premier. I think it says a great deal, not just about our wonderful multicultural community and the sense of acceptance and the strong fabrics we have in New South Wales, but I think it says a great deal about Gladys, her family, and the Armenian community in Australia, their sense of civic generosity and service. And so on that note, I want to publicly and most significantly congratulate Gladys on her career in public service and her election in March. In the Senate this year, I did have an opportunity to stand and speak in support of the motion put forward by Trent Zimmerman, supported by Joel Fitzgibbon, and many members of the House of Representatives. Unfortunately, time did not permit the Senate to debate and consider this motion. But like the House, it was supported by speakers on both sides of the Parliament. That motion acknowledged the first humanitarian effort of the Australian people. Its recognition that our Anzacs bore witness to the atrocities that befell, that were experienced, that were endured by the Armenian people. And the newspapers at the time in Australia, they used words like atrocity. They used words like massacres. And it was simply because at the time we didn't have a word yet invented, genocide, to describe what had happened. But we have this word, unfortunately, tragically today, and we should use it. It is what happened. It was a genocide inflicted upon the Armenian people, a genocide that our Anzacs bore witness to, a genocide that Australians, in their generosity, responded to. We are, Australia, play leaders in the global community. We play an important role, not just in our region, but in the world. And our failure to acknowledge the events of 1915 as genocide does a disservice to our allies and friends. And it undercuts our own leadership role on a global stage. And if there's one thing that we in this century should reflect upon, is that our failure to recognize what happened in the past century, the horror, the systematic torture, rape, and murder of a people, if If we don't call that out and recognize for what it is, we risk forgetting. And we have seen, even in the events of recent weeks, that unfortunately there is still capacity amongst our human race to inflict such horrors on other people simply because they come from a different race or religion to us. So like Trent, I join in optimism and hope that our Australian government will do as New South Wales has done and recognize what so many of you in this room know to be true, and that many of us in Parliament stand with you in acknowledging, and that is the genocide of the Armenian people. I look forward to being, I hope, in Parliament when that happens, and being here one day with you again, when we can have the Australian flag amongst those that are here alongside all the other nations who have recognized the Armenian genocide. Thank you.